Good morning and welcome to First Take. I'm Roz Gold on Woody. I'm here with Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. We got Sean Farnham here. What's up? Our basketball analyst. Stephen A., this is the first time I've actually seen you since the Oscars. First and foremost, how was that? Kudos to you, man.
It was a great experience, to say the least. It's good to be home. It's good to be home in my element. But all of those folks were great. Maria Menounos and Ben Lyons, they were absolutely sensational, helping me out. And trust me, they helped me a great deal. I watched 9 movies in 2 days. I watched everything, you know. So
you did your homework?
I was prepared. I did my homework, but I really enjoyed it. It was nice.
Do you realize how much you complain about the fact that you're forced to watch sports and now movies?
I never complain about being forced to watch sports. I complain about having to travel to the sports games. But once I'm there,
unless it's Miami or Los Angeles or Las Vegas.
Well, Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
For a big fight. Only for a big fight. But outside of that,
it's just Miami and L.A.
But Miami and L.A., yeah.
Good news are there's the Clippers and the Lakers this year, so there you go.
How about that? Could you imagine how miserable I would be if both missed the conference finals? I would be so depressed. So depressed.
Right. Don't encourage this,
And then my
Denver and Utah.
This is all they talk about. And guys,
it's going to be Utah, Milwaukee.
It would.
And while you guys are
Why? How could you even say such a
You should
blasphemous
apologize to the good people of Utah and Milwaukee.
They are very good people, but I don't want to be there in June.
I know a great sushi restaurant in Utah, by the way. I'll let you know if they get there.
There we go.
All right, but guys, while you're always so busy arguing about the battle for LA or should Giannis be MVP, well, the Raptors have won 15 straight games. Put some respect on their name. Pascal Siakam has continued to blossom from most improved to legit NBA All-Star. Nick Nurse is again proving his coaching prowess, and the Raptors didn't fall off the face of the earth when Kawhi left for the Clippers. So let's have some fun with this, guys. Would Kawhi Leonard have had a better chance at winning a championship if he just stayed with the Raptors? Max?
Yes. Kawhi's winning Finals MVP regardless this year. I said before the season started, wherever he chose to go, that's who'd win. If he stayed in Toronto, they'd win. If he went to the Clippers, they win. So he's going to win it anyway. But his chances are even better in Toronto. Number one, the conference. The West, I know the East has come up in the world somewhat. The West is a tougher conference. And I'm not talking about at the very top because you say, oh, what about the Bucks? Well, if the Bucks get out, you're going to have to play them to win the championship anyway. And the question is Toronto or are the Clippers better suited to beat the Bucks? And the answer is to beat the Bucks, Toronto is. Because as he did, not only is Kawhi on Giannis, owning him defensively and offensively, but he can funnel him to Gasol. He can funnel him to Ibaka. Siakam has taken a step forward, and he was very good last year. By the way, forget about the fact that you have guys like Van Vliet and still Kyle Lowry. Anunoby, he's a guy who Masai Ujiri loves, who you can see can be like a Swiss Army knife, kind of do a lot of things, and he's inconsistent. But he's getting better. Just had a good game the other night. He's getting better. Big scarf
guy as well. Big scarf
guy.
Yeah.
Scarves are the new thing. Stop it with the scarves. The point is, don't let Anunoby start fulfilling his potential, too. Especially, he's got a little runway still before the playoffs. They're a deep, well-constructed, well-coached franchise with an excellent culture from the top. And now you're asking if you just dropped Kawhi Leonard into that mix? But it's not just dropping him because he was with the team last year. So it's not even just adding a superstar. It's keeping a superstar there surrounding us. Yes, now who are they going to have to worry about? I already explained the Bucks. The Celtics are very good. The Sixers are none of those teams would be as good as Toronto with Kawhi.
You know what? I understand your argument, and I'm not summarily dismissing it, but I'm still going to go with the Kawhi with the Clippers having a better shot of getting to the NBA Finals. I think one of the things you got to look at when you look at the Eastern Conference is this. First of all, Milwaukee may have learned the error of their ways, despite the fact that Toronto has won 15 straight. Who are they still looking up to? It's Milwaukee. That's number one. There's something to be said for learning from the mistakes that you made last year and being prepared for it. I'm not going to sleep on Miami because they've got marksmen on their squad. They've got perimeter game, and they don't necessarily fall victim to what Milwaukee would do. Why did Milwaukee lose to Toronto last year? All of a sudden, you transition after game 2. You put Kawhi on the Greek Freak. He picks the Greek Freak up at half court. Takes away him coming downhill and coming at you like a locomotive. All of a sudden, you turn this 6'11" dude into somewhat of a playmaker. That ain't necessarily his game. You compromise him that way. You can't do that to Miami. Not with the shooters that they have. It's a different style. Then we go to the Western Conference and we look at Kawhi with Paul George, as you said yesterday, joining a 48-win team. And so I've got Paul George, I've got Kawhi, I've still got Beverly, I just picked up Morris, I've got Harold, I've got Lou Williams. So I look at it from that perspective, and here's the thing. You just gave Boston credit. I just gave Miami credit. You bring up Milwaukee. When we look at the Clippers, do we not think of one team and one team only standing in their way potentially? That's the Los Angeles Lakers. Even though we respect Denver and we respect Utah, we're not really anticipating or expecting that they'll be able to get over the hump against a multi-talented, exceptionally well-coached franchise like the Los Angeles Clippers. It's about LeBron and AD and the superstar. Even though we have no doubt he'll be ready for the postseason, during the regular season with load management and all of that other stuff, because he played 60 games last year, missed 22, you could not see, in all likelihood, the fluidity in the Toronto Raptors that you're seeing now.
And one way to really see that, too, is the number of double-digit missed games by all of the contributors on that team. I mean, Van Vliet has been out. Siakam has been out. Gasol has been out. So, I mean, it's definitely
There's always trade-offs.
Sean, what do you think?
And I would say this. First of all, the 15-game win streak is against one of the worst schedules we've ever seen in NBA history. Okay, and I'm not trying to belittle winning 15 games. I understand how hard that is to accomplish at any professional level in any sport. I don't care if it's baseball, NBA, it doesn't matter. But I would also say this. Some of the emergence of Pascal and what we've seen in his growth and development, he's put in a ton of work in the offseason. He's worked with Rico Hines out in L.A., running the men's gym out in UCLA, improved his game tremendously, is the fact that he is now trying to emerge to become that man. And he's trying to become that guy. You talked about the bench, and it's well documented how strong that bench was. Well, the strongest bench in the NBA right now is the Clippers. They lead the NBA in scoring. They lead the NBA in rebounds. They lead the NBA in minutes played. And, oh, by the way, Kawhi Leonard is still taking his load management time and getting ready, and he's got a running cohort now in Paul George that can take some of that offensive pressure off of him come the postseason. I think his chances of winning
You can't
the
make
NBA
that
championship.
argument. You can't make that argument for the Clippers, because last year, you just said it, Kawhi missed 22 games for the Raptors, who won the championship. And everyone's right, of course, if KD wasn't hurt, of course the Warriors would have won the championship. But that goes for any team. There's no team that was going to stand up to that super team Warriors team. That's for sure.
Wait, so
but the Raptors won the championship with Kawhi missing 22 games, speaking to their depth, won the championship, and the Warriors don't exist anymore, basically. So there's no team like that standing in their way.
Right, so this team that he has with the Clippers, with their depth on their bench and their production on their bench,
right, they're going to win the championship.
They're going to win the championship.
Right. I started out by saying, whatever team Kawhi went to, since he is the best player in the NBA, which no one but me wants to acknowledge, is going to win the title, because with the chips on the line, he suns everybody. He will do it again this year. Of course, you have to be on an excellent team. The bottom line is, in the West, you have teams on the bottom, like bring up through like Dallas, who's live. It's not like that in the East. Utah, Denver, the Rockets have a puncher's chance. The Lakers, like everywhere you look in the West, you're kind of swimming with sharks. In the East, the top has gotten better. But once you start getting down to like the Nets without KD and Kyrie, come on. It's a thinner division.
Let's stay at the top, guys.
Conference.
Is it tougher for the Clippers to get through the Lakers, or is it tougher for the Raptors to get through the Bucks?
This year's Raptors?
This season.
With Kawhi, you mean?
No.
Or without Kawhi?
No, it's tough. It's tougher for the Raptors to get through the Bucks.
That's
without
right.
question.
Without question.
Right. Yes. But if the Raptors had Kawhi, they'd do the Bucks in the playoffs. They don't, so they will lose. If they had Kawhi, they will, just like they did them last year. Because what Stephen A. said was right. And by the way, to give you credit, you said this going into the playoffs about the Freak when I had him number one. If you turn him into a player who has to go find his own shot, he looks like, is he kind of a wing? No, he plays big. And without a counterpart who you can rely on in the backcourt, which they still don't have, by the way. Bledsoe didn't always play big when they needed him most.
Which is why I believe you can't ignore Miami.
Because they have Jimmy Butler.
Playing big, it works for the Raptors. I'm talking about the opponent playing big works for the Raptors. If you play small, it can be a problem for them.
The one dude who would take on Kawhi in the playoffs is Jimmy Butler. If Jimmy Butler were still on the Sixers, now you got an issue.
All right, guys, we've got to take a break. We've got to go to commercial break. Certainly, though, Nick Nurse should be considered for Coach of the Year, very highly so. All right, coming up on First Take, find out why Joel Embiid might not be feeling the brotherly love in Philly and what that means for his status on the team. Dun-da-da. And LeBron James shows up and shows out against the Suns. But should the Lakers hold him back?